Here's a video about absolutely nothing. Here's a video maybe about no choice. Here's a video about why are we really doing what we do. And yeah, it's kind of broadening the horizon within this digital format. Here's a video about nothing. Nada. Here's a video. It's like, who even owns our intellectual property on a swift equalizing level, equalizatingly level? I would think it equates to the major factors of our genetic bloodline and our agreements with the genetic bloodline and how we're going uniquely going away from that and going towards back that. How are we relating and participating and being quote unquote loyal to the different genetic bloodlines that we're originally part of? What sanctions and shares and quote unquote metaphorical or metaphysical stocks do we have with the genetic bloodlines? Because everything is already in effect. Everything is a representation. Everything that has been materialized, it's a post expression of what already is. Like even like the stocks, it was a expressional idea that was already surmised and had its own accumulations based on how that was happening in a different format via the DNA. What is the DNA? It's the soul code complex of the configuration of what your spirit has divvied itself to be in par in relationship with other elements that have solidified themselves in different forms, the original 16 Godheads. And those are the main challenges in my humble perspective, and may that be updated with accuracy and maturity, because we have to ask, like, what's the point of all this? What's the point of me following up on what I'm following up on? It's to see if we could be at ease with the experiment of how other things function and mechanate based on how those other things function and mechanate with the bigger whole. So there's a bigger dialed in detailed system. So it's like, are we really dialed in? This is a video about no choice. So are we really dialed in? That's not just for our oh, there's a red robin right here. That's not for our day-to-day activities to surmise or to actually like it's not for our day-to-day activities to dictate if we're following up on what we are. It's our whole life. It's the bandwidth of our life. The bandwidth energetics of your life, meaning everything will be accounted for energetically first and foremost. Everything that you've done, from what you were, from what you have the anomaly opportunities to go forward to. And I like opening doors with my feet because I don't really touch the hands. But yeah, we've all made it a far way collectively. We've all made it a far way uniquely within our tribal circumstance. Sometimes we're forced to be a hermit, whether you're attributive to that format of a hermit or not. There could be a sub tendency to become a hermit, even if you're not a hermit, because you need to balance your alone time with your groups, with your tribal groups. So it's within the bandwidth of our life that will ultimately calculate what is for our next big, individual macro travel being you, the vessel in itself. So there is this notion of a context of no choice, but there is a notion of a context of you could nudge into your intuition, which is micro free will. So it's a simultaneous thing of how there's different contexts of free will and no free will. And 5%. I might have to pause this because this phone might just, bloop out, bleep out, blap out, slap out, and slat out, and splat out, and shat out. I don't want it to get, shat out. Shout out to you, the beautiful moving star that you are. So it's maybe the best thing God could really do for you is like make you not care about certain things. Because once you don't care about certain things, false desires and even desires that are natural get transcended and transmuted respectively. But if any desire that does come to you, it's probably like some sort of experimental energetic test to see how you fare with it, dwell with it, seeing the deception and the illusion within it. So what is this video about? It's about the notion of no choice, how we're just being dragged to where we're being dragged, and how do we fare with how we can't stop the universe moving. And that's just a metaphorical example of you can't stop the ocean from making noise. So with all that being said, it's like, are we really dialed in? Like, what's the point of like doing our position? And I get the patience factor too. But what's the point of saying we do this, yada, 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 we do this and we stand for this when we more or less are, once we're being called to the test, after this life, after the days, after the years, life is the spiritual intelligence is calculating if you're really about that. And there's a subtle energetic judgment happening, and I'm not saying this to like, be in favor of anybody. This is the neutral, grounded understanding of how things are working behind the scenes. Because South Node and Moon are conjunct in Libra. So it's like we're feeling how we're being kind of, anchored into traditionality. We're feeling how we're being anchored into like, maybe we're like really like appreciating and following up on what ancestral systematic databases are time tested that bring worth, value, results to fuck.